Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back with another shelf of my CD, album, music collection, whatever you want to call it, series. Sorry, it's been a while between shelves, even though this series isn't performing very well, and I'm not sure how many people are actually invested in it. But for those who are, sorry, it's been a while. But let's get straight into shelf number four because these usually take a little while. So the first album we have here is Race Car Blues by the band Slowly Slowly. I've spoken about plenty of times how much I love Slowly Slowly, and this is an album I sort of backtracked on because I really got into them later. I knew about this album and sort of had to give it a second chance, and it's grown on me over time. Not their best, but still pretty solid. Rain in July, History of Bad Decisions. This is actually two of Neck Deep's EPs in one. But this is one of my favourite EPs of all time. Neck Deep, one of my favourite bands of all time, so sort of explains why. Real Rare Whale by Dune Rats. That's a hard title to say fast. Real Rare Whale. Fuck. Tongue twister. But fun album. If you're aware of Dune Rats, you know the kind of music that you're getting from an album like that. Rebuild Repeat by the Australian duo Hockey Dad. Hockey Dad's a band I like, but like their sound isn't exactly what I usually go for. But I was actually really impressed by this album from last year. Revolution Radio by Green Day. I remember when this album came out back in 2016, if I remember correctly, and I'm like, man, Green Day are back. And maybe it hasn't held up the greatest since, but I still think this album sort of gets underappreciated in a way. Um, if I can't get that back in, I'll put it in later. Riot by Paramore. I think most people will say that this is Paramore's best album. I actually think there's like a good handful above Riot, but obviously it's a classic. So many iconic songs and moments off that album. Chapel Roan's Rise and Fall of Midwest Princess. I'm a big Chapel Roan fan. I just like how she puts uniqueness and creative flair in her personality into pop music, and yeah, really enjoyable. Probably not what a lot of people expected there, but yeah, I dig it. Ruckus by Movements. Now, I've spoken so many times about Movements and how they just do not miss, and this is their third full length album, and again, it just kept in form. Such a great album. Getting into the S's now, I've got this EP by Dean Lewis called Same Kind of Different. Just Australian singer songwriter, handful of songs on there, not bad. Save Rock and Roll by Fall Out Boy has its moments, and I used to like this album a lot more when I was younger and it first came out, but over time, it's one of Fall Out Boy's weakest for sure. Saviors, Green Day. Again, when this one came out, I was sort of thinking the same thing. Green Day's back, baby. I honestly kind of like Revolution Radio more than Saviors, but it's still solid enough. I like it. Scaled and Icy by 21 Pilots, probably their most underappreciated, or at least in their modern discography, hated on album. You know what? It's not their best stuff for sure. Like, it's hard to sometimes make a case for this compared to some great albums that they've put out, before and after this. But I think it's not that bad. I think it gets, again, underappreciated. Sempiternal, Bring Me the Horizon, such an iconic album. Everyone knows this. A lot of people would say that this is their best album. I have other ones, but yeah, still good shit. Another one that might surprise a lot of people, Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. Again, kind of like Chapel Roan, puts a lot of her personality and flair into it. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of formulaic stuff on here as well that doesn't win me over, but every now and then a song comes on and I'm like, yeah, actually fuck with that. So, yeah. Again, I try not to keep my music taste exclusive to one thing. Skinny Dipping by Stand Atlantic. This is sort of when they were still more so traditional pop punk, with still a little bit of a pop flair, but they've changed their sound a lot over time, but this is some good shit. Architect's new album, The Sky, the Earth, and All Between. Cool shit, new album, so it's still got to go on rotation a little bit more to give my full thoughts. Smile Wide by Rome. I'm actually not overly familiar with this album. I sort of picked it up just on a little bit of a shopping spree. But from what I have heard of it, it's not bad. It's okay. Smithereens by Joji. This is one of my favorite go-to mood albums. Like just when I'm in a particular mood, just sort of in a vibe, this is one to chuck on, and yeah, I really enjoyed actually. Again, maybe not traditional to what I normally listen to, but cool shit. So much for Stardust, Fall Out Boy. I love this album. We've had a bit of Fall Out Boy already on this shelf, but yeah, this new one, it sort of came out to mixed reviews, but man, I really dig it, and it still holds up somewhat for me now. Songs of, by The Story So Far. This is a collection of acoustic covers of their own songs, and just acoustic songs in general, just a little EP. Good shit. Sounds Good, Feels Good, 5 Seconds of Summer. Again, this is their earlier stuff, so this was more, I don't know, popish, pop punk. This is like one of their most ambitious albums that didn't quite execute. Like, they're trying to do pop punk, and then they're trying to do like rock operas, and there's just a variety of stuff on here. I'm not saying it's a terrible album. I still get a bit of nostalgia from this one, but yeah, looking back, it didn't really work out the greatest. Sour, Olivia Rodrigo. We're getting a good run of some pop girlies on this shelf, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Olivia Rodrigo. I once upon a time was really high on this album. It's sort of dropped over time. Just I think there's too many ballads on here, and her songwriting wasn't quite what it is now, but it's still a good album. St. Leonard's by Slowly Slowly. Same as what I said about Race Car Blues that started off this level. Yeah, it's an album of theirs I was familiar with, but more so when I got into them later, I had to backtrack and check out this album again, and it's okay. Not their best stuff. An album from last year that's grown on me a lot. Here we have State Champs, self-titled. I've never been massive on State Champs, which surprises a lot of people, because those who know me well know I'm crazy about pop punk, and this is one of the biggest pop punk bands in the world at the moment, and yeah, I've never been that high on them, but this album's grown on me for sure. Here's a fun band in general that's grown on me, actually. In Her Own Words, Steady Glow. This guy that I still work with him now, but we used to work full days together. He got me onto this band, and yeah, some really cool, again, more pop influenced pop punk, but cool shit. I don't know why this level is so hard to fucking pull shit out and put it back in. Still Love by Teenage Wrist. I always scream it from the fucking mountaintops. Teenage Wrist are so underrated. Like, this experimental grunge emo sort of sound, and this album isn't their best stuff, but it is still really fucking strong. Sunshine, like, what a crazy song. I fucking love it. The Story So Far's self-titled. Now, if you've been paying attention to this series, you guys know I have a lot of The Story So Far in my collection. I mean, shit, we just had one before, but for a long time, this was like the only... Sliding out of the slipcase. This was the only Story So Far album I owned and really listened to over and over and over. I was familiar with their other stuff, but it just took me a long time to pick up their other stuff. So yeah, this one I'm very familiar with. Stoney by Post Malone. You can look back at early Post in two ways, a little bit cringy, but I look back at it pretty fondly. Like, there's some fun shit on here for sure. I don't think it's his best album, but Suicide and Sunshine by Trophy Eyes. I was really hopeful that Trophy Eyes would do a three-peat, 3 great albums in a row: Chemical Miracle, The American Dream, and then finish it with Suicide and Sunshine. Even though this is a good album, just didn't quite hit where I wanted it to, but don't get me wrong, there's some absolute bangers off this album still. We've got Sunburn by Dominic Fike. Again, maybe not what you would expect me to be listening to, but chill pop, rap sort of stuff in there. Again, it's not really a genre of music that's up my alley, so I kind of don't really know how to describe it, but I enjoy it for what it is. Amy Shark's Sunday Sadness. It's better than some of her earlier stuff, but it's still Amy Shark. It's a bit iffy on me sometimes. Sundiver, Boston Manor. This could be up there with one of, if not their best album. Just really good shit here. I really enjoyed this album from last year. one of their more consistent albums for sure. Supercharged by The Offspring. You can look at this one as being like, them past their prime and, what the fuck are they doing? But I have so much fun with this album, so, I sort of give it the benefit of the doubt. I think it's cool. The Surface, Beartooth. After, one of their weaker albums, if not their weakest album, Below, which came before this, The Surface was better. Still not up there with their best work, but better stuff, so that's good. One of, if not my favorite hip-hop rap album, whatever you want to call it, Taboo by Denzel Curry. I just love this shit. Like, every song on here is a banger, and that's not very common for myself in rap hip-hop albums. Again, just not really a genre I overly gravitate towards, but yeah, this album is like pretty much a 10 out of 10. I fucking love it. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, Blink-182, one of my all-time favourite bands, probably number 2. But yeah, for a long time I used to say this was my favourite album of theirs. It's right up there, but yeah, it's still really solid. 10, Pearl Jam, classic. Yeah, I love Pearl Jam. They're really cool. Good album. Trying to keep this shelf going fast. Keep forgetting. That's The Spirit, Bring Me the Horizon. Now, when I pulled out Sempiterno before, I said that would be most people's go-to. For me, this is their go-to. Or my go-to, sorry, for Bring Me the Horizon. A lot of people are like, oh, this is where they started to go a little bit too poppy and experimental and change off their traditional sound. I feel like, some of the later albums was really stretching it a bit far for me, but this is where it worked. Alright, so I think literally every episode of this series, it's cut out while doing the shelf, so has to be on shelf number 4, it cut out, of course. So going back a few CDs where I was up to, we have This Could Be Heartbreak by the Amity Affliction. This was the follow-up to what I think is their best album, Let the Ocean Take Me, and this one actually holds pretty good form as well. It's a bit more of a concept album in a way, a lot of the songs relating to heartbreak and death, and I mean a lot of their stuff does in general, but good album. This Is Why by Paramore. I know a lot of people are kind of mixed on this album after it settled for a bit. It had a great early reception, and then I think some people have started to change their mind on it a bit, but I really enjoy This Is Why. 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, My Chemical Romance. I think this is a pretty well-known album, so I won't dwell on that one too much. Throwing Copper by Live. Yeah, this is one that I grew up listening to a fair bit. My dad had this in his music collection, and yeah, a lot of it is pretty familiar to me, even though Live isn't like an all-time favourite grunge band or of the scenes or whatever, but I like it. Waystar, Till the Wheels Fall Off. I think every shelf I get to talk about Waystar and how much I think they're underrated, and this is one from last year, I think, and yeah, not a lot of people checked it out, but it's so fucking cool. Like, they're another band that just have not had a bad album. The CDs are falling over here. Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die. Panic at the Disco, sorry, I just realised I wasn't even filming them. Yeah, Panic at the Disco, a lot of the later stuff is hit and miss with me, so I don't really have too strong of feelings or thoughts on those ones. Toxic by the band Yours Truly, an Australian female-led pop-punk or punk alternative band. I don't know, just really fucking cool shit. Like, I am obsessed with this album. It's a new album, so obviously it hasn't had too much time to sink in overall, but for what it stands at the moment, I really love this album. I think it's great. Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt. I love No Doubt. They're so fucking cool. Gwen Stefani, this was right when she had like me in her back pocket, really. Like, I just love everything that she was doing with No Doubt. I actually really like some of her solo stuff as well, but I'm not overly familiar compared to when she was doing No Doubt. Trench by 21 Pilots. This is my favourite 21 Pilots album. I just think it's fantastic from front to back. The Truth About Love by Pink. Yeah, mum rock. Everyone talks about what dad rock is. I honestly think Pink is a pretty good example of like what mum rock is. But her later stuff again is a little bit more hit than miss. But I think this is one of her better ones from her later discography. A new album here from this year, Tsunami Sea by Spiritbox. I spoke about on an earlier shelf that Spiritbox, I have a huge appreciation for them and I do like them, but I don't think I'm in love with them as much as a lot of other people are. I think their album before this one was better, but I still like Tsunami Sea, and like I said, it's only from this year, so it's still got plenty of time to grow on me. And then the last one on this shelf, we have 12 Carat Toothache, Post Malone. There's a handful of okay songs on here, but overall it's nothing too impressive. But there we go. Alright, through shelf number 4. Bottom shelf is shelf number 5. That will be a very quick one. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Sorry about the cut in between again. I think that's happened on every shelf, literally filming, and then I just realised that the filming's cut out and I have to go back and pick up from where I left off. But thank you for joining me, guys. If you are enjoying this series, please let me know, because I've noticed that the views on these music shelf by shelf series have not been going too well. I'm going to do them regardless because I like doing them, and I'm sure there's a few people that do, but try and support the videos if you can, guys. Would appreciate it lots, and yeah, I'll see you for another one soon.